Good morning. I am going to give you guys a quick tour of the backyard garden. I still have a lot of stuff I need to move around because I'm always reorganizing my gardens, and I probably for the next week or so will be bringing everything in the greenhouse and the few things I have up in the office, getting them planted out here. I am recovering from my bronchitis, but now we have air quality warnings from the Canada smoke, so that's making me cough a little bit because my lungs are already irritated. I will try not to cough through the whole video because that's annoying for me. I'm sure it's annoying for you, but we will take a peek at what's going on in the garden so far. So there's definitely lots of chaos. The kids keep their bikes and some of their outside toys in here because otherwise the puppy Odin will chew on them. So this is the safe spot for them to stash their stuff. I did get all of the strawberries pulled up from that area, and they are down the hill in my secret garden. We're not going down there today in this video. It's a hot mess. Obviously, a garden in development is always a bit of a hot mess. So later in the season, when I have time to make that a priority, I will take you guys down there. But strawberries are gone down there. They're all flowering. I need to cover them soon so that all the birds and bunnies and such don't eat them. The asparagus patch I need to pull up still. One, because I just want it out of here. You see how weedy it gets. And two, because Dan's actually going to be coming through here with an excavator. And you'll find out why later in the video. So the asparagus it's either going to die because it gets run over, or I can move it, and I don't want it in here anyways, so I just need to move it. Although right now it's dry, and this ground is like cement. So I'm going to wait for it to rain a little bit so I don't hurt myself doing that. All my irises are looking good. They'll be blooming soon here. Say hello to my shadow. Lots of weeds. You can see I haven't tilled through here. I planted a row of cabbage and a row of Brussels sprouts, and then I bought more. These are just the ones that I started from seed. Aspen actually started this from the seed at her school, which is fun, but not all of mine germinated, and I like quite a few, so I did end up buying some more. I just haven't gotten them in ground yet. The coughing is worse in the morning too. I promise I really am slowly feeling better. And some of my poor little Brussels sprouts got chewed on. So we do get we do get bunnies and stuff in here, but those should bounce back. So long as this one's down to one leaf, we'll see here. Comfrey's looking great. My little bleeding hearts have started. This bush gets pretty big and flops over. But if you go back to last year's videos, right here I had a perennial bed, a mix of flowers and herbs. Those are all up, and I have transferred them along the border, mostly farther down. This space I'm leaving open for now since the excavator is going to be coming through here, but I will do cabbages and broccoli, and I know that's a lot of brassicas in a row, but I plant pretty heavily with marigolds, and it seems to be okay for me. I mean, I've got netting. If all else, if I start getting a bunch of cabbage moths or such, I can cover them. My hostas are all looking great. I really want more. I think I've got 5 different varieties because there's a little one tucked in there you can't really see. He's down there. More hostas. I just love how they fill everything out and they multiply. The clematis is growing. I got one fern. I'd like more, which I can just go in the woods and grab some. I just haven't had time. The kids planted some peas in here. There's one started among the weeds in there. 1, 2, 3. So there are some peas coming up in here. I did start some in the office just in case they didn't do so well germinating out here. And then, because in previous years I've been growing them along there, but they tend to get so weeded out that we never harvest. So need to do a better job. Then we have a radish bed. Looks like there's a stray carrot in there from last year. And then the kids also planted row peas along both of these beds. I have onions that I overwintered, so they'll go to seed this year. So I'm just kind of gonna let them flower because that'll be fun. And then there's some leeks in there. Aspen found a bunch of little garlic starts in one of my garlic patches from last year where there's not garlic growing right now. So we dug them up and brought them over here. So this is now Aspen's garlic patch. This bed, I've got the shallots and the few onions that I started from really old seed are along the edge. The middle is just weeds I need to weed out. And then we did stick a few peas along the edge, along this trellis again. I only see 1 or 2, so definitely we'll be putting some of the ones from the office in here. I have not planted, gosh, the coughing, I pause it. So if it's a little choppy, that's why I'm trying to pause when I cough. But I have not planted these beds yet. I need to kind of weed them out, put some fertilizer in them, and then fill them. I haven't completely decided what I want to put in here. I started some forget-me-nots from seeds, and it's not like the native variety to here, so putting them in tubs works better because then I don't have to worry about it taking over. Columbine has started blooming. So pretty. I started a bunch of different columbine from seeds. I'm not quite sure where I will stick them all. I've kind of been dividing my flowers between this garden, which the edges are now, you know, my perennial flower border, the secret garden, and then the flower beds that I have up front. We put Dan's corn in the ground. Obviously we'll do a big sweet corn patch. These were our test for germination, and we got a pretty good amount. My walking onions are gonna start blooming here soon. So yay for more walking onions. My mom already is asking for some. In a couple years, I'm hoping I'll have enough I can sell some because they're a pretty cool onion. I planted, I think those are some asters from what I got, and then I planted lots of my lupine down here. I have lots of little baby cosmos. I'll back up. If you remember, probably don't, this area kind of used to go out in a triangle because originally this garden ended right along, like the roses were the end of the garden, and then we expanded it. And I'd kind of left this little corner, but I decided it was annoying, so I took it out. But now I have some pansies and cosmo babies in there that I need to dig up and plant elsewhere. I just haven't gotten that far. The garlic is looking fabulous. Super excited about that. My storm cloud thing. I never know how to say it. Storm cloud, it's like Emosia or something. The easiest way to figure out stuff, guys, because I'm not a good speller and I'm certainly not good at pronouncing anything, is to like screenshot and use Google Lens, and it can tell you what it is if you want one. My mom wants one, and I told her what nursery has them this year, so we'll see if she remembers or not. I picked this guy up from a nursery. There's a few things I grabbed from a nursery, and the nurseries I've noticed this year seem to have an aphid problem. So everything from the nurseries I've kept in the office, away from all of my plants in the greenhouse, and I just dusted the ever-loving heck out of them with diatomaceous earth and let them sit for a few days, and that did seem to murderize the little buggers. If that didn't do it, I do have a pretty healthy ladybug population out here, so I don't think it will spread if 1 or 2 survived. I'm pretty sure if they leave that plant, the ladybugs will eliminate that problem for me. This is kind of becoming my new perennial herb spot instead of in the middle of the garden. So we got herbs, bee balm, parsley, chives, sage. I think this is my marshmallow. That's like a perennial thyme. Different kinds of parsley. Cilantro. What's this one? This is hyssop, I think. Yeah, I can't even read my own handwriting. It's so bad. And then wormwood. That's a lemon thyme. Those are garlic chives. That's lemon balm. And that's the hyssop anise, which is, they're not related, the two hyssop things as far as I know. I don't think they are. They look very different and they have different uses, but I want a little perennial herb bed. I mean, not all of these will come back. It's not only a perennial herb bed, but some will self-seed, so might as well be. I moved my mint over here. I'm giving it that area to take over. If it comes out of that, it's going to get chopped or rototilled or whatever. Ooh, that just reminded me. Let's go back for a second. Try not to go too fast. I know it gets blurry on camera if I speed through everything here. My lily of the valley are blooming this year. Which I know a lot of people don't like lily of the valley because it is one of those invasives that spreads from the root, but I love the smell. You can see it did. There's one here and here and here. So it is spreading a little bit. I'm gonna dig these ones up and probably stick them in there. And then I till through here. And I'm not really too worried about them going out into the woods. The chickens and dogs stir everything up pretty good over there. And if it does track out there, I'll just have to pull it up. That's just, I got them knowing that they're going to require some maintenance because they like to go. And that's okay with me. And I'm pretty sure they're also toxic to everything. But again, I'm not too worried about anything trying to eat them. This garlic is much bigger than this, I think for two reasons. One, these are kind of my giant varieties. And two, this area is under a little more shade, so it'll sorry guys, it'll probably be a couple weeks behind. Most of it grew in. I always do lose a few. You can kind of see I dug a trench because I will go through. If there's a spot where all of a sudden there's a gap, sometimes they just sink too far down and they have a hard time sprouting that far up. So if I dig down to them a little bit, sometimes that helps and I'll find some of those missing ones. And sometimes just all of them don't overwinter. I mean, it's like anything, you're not going to have 100% success rate. So it's still pretty dang good if you ask me. These wash tubs I have not even bothered filling with dirt yet. Dan kind of told me he might be stealing them in the future, but he's not stealing them right now, so I'm going to plant in them at least this year. Haha. My peony bush that I transferred over here is doing great. I'm hoping I get some good flowers on her this year. Last year she tried and then it was just so dry. Even with watering, it did not do great. And then here are more of my perennials that were in the middle that I have just moved over here. And then of course I've been sticking, like there's some of the lupine. That's I think a carnation. Lots of the things that I had started this year I am just sticking in here. I think that is chicory. Not sure what that is. That looks like more carnations. Yep. I did a multicolored yarrow seed, so I know I stuck some of him. I think he's down here somewhere. But yes, lots of my lilies and random stuff and a couple weeds. Yay, weeds. This area, I decided to, instead of sticking along the fence, I'm going to bump it out a little bit for two reasons. One, I have a ton of flowers to plant this year. Like I have a whole tray loaded with poppies. Where the heck am I going to put them all? So, and poppies don't like their roots disturbed, so this is totally an experiment by me because letting them self-sow or winter sowing them out here has not worked great for me with my clay soil. So we're going to try the seed tray and see how it does. But I needed more space because all the way to there, from there to my vegega bed, the kids planted sunflowers. So I don't have that section for planting in. So I was just going to have a couple more feet really. And I've got trays and trays and trays of flowers. Even with 3 different garden beds, I want at least a couple of everything that I planted in here. So giving it extra space. And then my long-term plan is I love coming and sitting in the garden and just relaxing and looking at the flowers and the birds and the butterflies and making plans for everything. Oh, that's a surprise. You saw nothing. That bench, and then I have my table over there. They're in shade most of the day, but then as the day goes on, that's in the sun. So I've always kind of wanted a table and chairs, or even just a bench, or even just a chair in a different area of the garden so I can have shade when that side is sunny. So I'm thinking this little area is in shade when that side is not. This is where I will tuck myself a cute little chair or bench. It'll be my new reading nook. Up here we had a big branch here that went over my tomatoes. This branch had broken and was kind of laying over the fence, so I had Dan clear that one, and then this one got taken down because he was really covering my tomatoes bad. Like, you can see it came and it hung over these fences. So that's gone now. So this is gonna make this area more sunny for me, which is helpful because I would like to take this tomato trellis. In my opinion, is the uglier of the two. This has got my nice fencing. This has got kind of crappy fencing. I mean, it works, it's just, that looks way nicer than this does. And this was too close together. It looks great wide right now. Fits the tiller. When the tomatoes go crazy, even with lots of trimming, this is really tight. So I'm gonna pull this one and I'm gonna set it over here, but I'm probably gonna about double the width of my tomato aisle. And then I can tuck the ugly one over here so I don't have to see it. So that's a win-win. And then in this, the rest of the space will be a bit open. I haven't decided what I'll plant over here. I got a bunch of tomatillos. I've got a bunch of stuff. There's a lot that needs to be planted. So, and having these two branches gone really well open up a lot more sun in here. So it just gives me more options for planting in here. My Veggiega bed, remember I have a discount code for these guys. It's 10% off, but they do sales all the time. You can't stack my code like with their sale codes, but a lot of times they have sales going on that are even better. But I just got my gladiolas in yesterday. So this ranunculus on this side, and then gladiolas over here, because these are all things that have to be dug up. They will not overwinter. So this is nice. You saw me fill it up in the winter, and then I recently topped it off with a bunch of composted horse manure. So it's light and fluffy and soft and easy to dig in. Not weed free, but it was free, which is my favorite. It's my favorite price. So that's gonna just be beautiful, beautiful flowers. These pots will all be dahlias. I have a bunch more that I need to lay out. I haven't even gotten around to filling them yet. My dahlias are overflowing in the greenhouse, but that's just a big project. Hi chickens, and you see my mountain of sand. Oh, what's that? Stay tuned for my next video. I will be explaining what the heck the sand pile is and that concrete mess over there and why we're going to be running an excavator through the garden. You will find out shortly. But the last thing to show you, I guess, is my green stalk grow tower. I don't have codes or anything for these guys. Just check out their website if you want one. I like it. I will say it has two downsides. One, has to be completely level or the watering system will not work properly. Where the low spot is, that whole side will get watered better than the other. So it has to be level. And two, just like a hanging planter, this is going to dry out a lot faster than anything in the ground. So it does require a lot more watering to keep it from drying out. I do know they have come up with like watering systems and such since I've had this. I just haven't purchased any of it. So I tend to put cool season stuff in here or stuff that's going to bolt. I kind of like it for the visual more than actually using anything. I got some mint in the bottom over there, and then I've got kale. This is fennel, celery. Not sure what I'm going to plant in these other ones yet. I've got lots of lettuce seeds and spinach. I think I'm going to put cucamelons in one of these because then they can just kind of grow up and down and along the fence, and I think that would be fun. But that's, I got to fill them out on my very long gardening to-do list. Ugh, trying not to cough so much, guys. This needs to all be spread, but that's a lot of work. It's cow manure. We do this every spring. Sometimes we do it in the fall as well. Dan brings me, this is like 2 or 3 loads of cow manure, and then we just kind of pitchfork it around the whole garden, and it will eventually get tilled in. It has really improved especially in like this half of the garden, the soil, because this is closest to where it gets dumped, so that tends to be where we spread it the most. But you know, we are working on improving my garden soil all the time. Like I dump all of the, when I clean out the chicken pen, all the chicken manure and stuff goes in here, so you'll see random clumps of feathers. That's why. It's not a dead chicken, it's I hauled in all the clean out from their little chicken coop. But yes, this ended up being a much longer giant weed I need to get rid of, and there's a locust growing farther down there. There's the garden tour for today. Didn't mean for it to be this long. I will show you the front flower beds and probably the secret garden in a different video and another time. I need to finish weeding the front flower beds today. That's what my list is today. Finish weeding that, because then I can, what flowers don't fit in here, I can put out in the front flower beds. So hope you guys are having a great day and are having fun with the start of gardening.